For the past month or so, my oldest son has been borrowing Vicky's 64 C10 to use as a daily driver. He brought it back so his mother could use it to run to the pumpkin patches this fall. However, it's got some problems. For some reason, the turn signal lever is missing and the turn signal switch is in two pieces. We've replaced the turn signal switch numerous times in this truck, and the last switch I replaced with a brand new old stock unit from eBay. But now, unfortunately, we're going to have to go back to using an aftermarket switch, which thankfully Mark claims he has in stock. So Tanner's going to work on doing an oil change while I run down to the parts store and pick it up. All right, well, while you're working on this thing, I'm going to run down to Mark's and go get a freaking turn signal switch, I guess. Evidently, no one's checked the oil level in the engine because, according to Tanner, there was only about a quart left in it. These older cars and trucks like Vicky's El Camino or her C10 require a little more attention to detail in regards to maintenance. It's not uncommon for these older engines to use a little oil or leak a little oil, or both. They were built for a time and a generation that moved at a little slower pace. But thankfully, due to old-fashioned mom-and-pop style auto parts places like A1 Auto Parts in Buckeye Lake, we can still get parts. How many turn signal switches for a 64 C10 have I purchased from you? Can you look it up on my history?
I already did. It's 12.
12.
That's about 12.
Well, I need another one.
Oh,
the last time you told me it was the last one in existence.
Well, luckily I had one sneak in over the last half a year because I knew it was going to happen.
Good.
Yeah.
Because somebody got their arm tangled up in a steering column and busted my damn turn signal again.
What was that?
I don't know, but his name rhymes with Willie.
Oh.
Now, typically, despite what my brother might say, Mark's pretty sharp, but he's having an off day today. That's a headlight switch.
What'd you say?
Turn signal switch.
Oh, well. Oh, God. Hold on a minute. I'll be back.
We've replaced the turn signal switch at least a dozen times, but we've also had problems with headlight switches, and Mark thought that's what I needed. So you don't have one?
I don't. I got plenty of freaking headlight switches, but no,
I even called ahead.
Yeah, I know. But there was all kinds of stuff going on.
Wait till Buckwheat sees this video.
No, don't show it to him. I've already got enough stuff going on with him. I don't need any more.
Well, I'm going up to the machine shop this afternoon to tear apart your 427.
Are you? Oh.
Did you see that video?
Oh, well, I did, yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It is bad.
It didn't look good.
No, there was some chumpy pudding flipped around in that thing there, so.
Clearly, old Mark's having a rough day. But thankfully, he found a switch for me that he can have by 3 o'clock. So I drove the El Camino back to the shop and told Tanner, we're in a holding pattern on the C10 for a little while. Let's bring Billy's 55 in and work on it instead. It's time to run the valves in it and do an oil change on it to get it ready for next weekend in case I get the opportunity to race it at Edgewater. All right, so while Tanner's working on the 55 back at the shop, I'm gonna run up here to Bob's and hopefully we can get some answers on what happened to 427 out of Mark's 55. I also need to stop by House of Pearls and check on my 55 and my Nova because they've made some progress up there, I think, but I haven't had time to stop in and check on them. So I'm gonna stop there real quick and see everybody and see how things are going at the body shop. The last time I had an opportunity to check in with them up here, Paul and I had come to the conclusion that the front fenders on Mom and Dad's 55 were gonna have to be replaced. So I sent a message out to Paul at Golden Star Restoration Parts, and within a few days I had a brand new pair of front fenders for Mom and Dad's 55 Bel Air. Paul and Jesse haven't had time to get everything completely adjusted, but initially the front fenders fit just as well as the quarters. So now that we've got the front fender issue taken care of, progress can continue on Mom and Dad's car. I didn't have a whole lot of time to spend at the body shop. I needed to get up to the machine shop to see Uncle Bob. He had texted me earlier this morning and told me he was continuing to work on the 496 giveaway engine and he's preparing to tear down Mark's 427, bouncing back and forth between decking the block on the 496, getting the 502 Ford motor ready to put on the dyno, and getting a workspace cleaned up and organized so that we can film tearing apart Mark's 427 and documenting what we find. Now initially, I felt like it was probably just a head gasket issue and we could put this thing back together without too much trouble. But as usual, things aren't always as simple as they seem. We did notice a couple little issues with the valve train as we took the rocker arms off Mark's big block. But once we began to pull the cylinder heads off, we realized that the problem that we're having with coolant in the oil is not a problem with the head gaskets. After we pulled both of these vintage L88 aluminum heads off, we realized we're going to have to dig a little deeper to figure out how the coolant got in the oil pan. After closely looking at the intake gasket seal as well as the head gaskets, Bob and I realized there's either a problem with his heads or his block. So we put the cylinder heads in the hot tank to clean them up and turned our attention to this rare high-performance 4-bolt main 427 block that clearly has coolant contamination in one side but not the other. A very strange situation that initially didn't make any sense. So Bob went ahead and pulled the oil pan off to look for clues and be able to inspect the webbing in the bottom of the block. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pressurize the driver's side of the block, pressurize the cooling system, and see where this stuff's coming out at, because clearly there's oil mixed with water on one side of the block but not the other. I just called Tanner, and Tanner said there wasn't anything in the radiator, so that tells me all the coolant must have been in the oil pan when he drained it. So I don't know, very peculiar. It appears that whatever the problem is, it's on the driver's side bank. So we put the cylinder head back on the driver's side where it came from and retightened the head with the head gasket, making plates to block off the coolant passages in the heads so that we could pressurize that side of the block with compressed air. And it didn't take us long to find out exactly what the problem was. Something has punctured the block in the water jacket between number 7 intake and exhaust lifters in the lifter valve. Obviously, something has come loose in this engine and got into the camshaft, and we found it in the oil pan. So we found the culprit, and I want to show you guys in case you ever decide you want to put a set of roller rockers on. This is a mistake that I see pretty often when people bring cars to me that are having problems and they're trying to get something figured out. I see this pretty often. It's an easy mistake to make. But you got to really pay attention when you put roller rockers on that you don't put the fulcrums on upside down. Let me show you. So these rocker arms, here's one that you can actually spin. Most of them are pretty well locked up. But you can see that the flat down in here on the fulcrum, that's made so that the polylock sits in that flat. And what happened here was Mark had this one upside down. So the polylock wasn't sitting on the flat, it was sitting up on this round side, and that shortens up the stud. And Mark said he noticed that the one stud was short, but he thought it was just something with the head. And I actually found 2 of them that were that way. But this is a real common problem. If you don't have the fulcrum flat side up, it shortens the stud and there's hardly any thread for the polylock to thread into. And what happened in this case is the polylock came loose. It fell down through the lifter valley and the camshaft got it. See how they're sticking? You can't hardly turn them. I mean, this one right here, you can't, it's stuck.
Yeah, you can't turn this one.
Here's another one, but it's beat all to hell too. It's been wallering around on the stud. Unfortunately, when the set screw in one of these polylocks fell into the oil pan, the camshaft got a hold of it and broke the block in the lifter valley. So unfortunately, this block won't be able to be reused. So we measured the bores to see what size overbore the pistons are and see if we can't find another block to put Mark's engine back together. So it's already 60 over. We measured the bore. And we think that the pistons are still good. We won't know until we take them out.
Right.
We might be able to reuse his pistons and connecting rods and the 427 crank.
Short block. Yep.
Yeah, the rotating assembly. We might be able to save that. But the block, it's a no-go.
No.
That sucks, because that's a factory high-performance block. Stamped high performance right on, or cast right in it. So at least we found exactly what it is. We found the smoking gun. There's no questions what happened. It just sucks that it happened that way.
Yep.
While I was on my way home from Bob's, Mark was actually making a delivery at our shop to Billy for some belts for his 69 C10 project. Mark actually had to run back and forth a couple times trying to find the right size belt for Billy, and I just so happened to catch him in time to explain to him what happened with the poly lock that we found in the oil pan. And it fell down in between the cam and the block in the cam valley, and it broke the block, emptied all the coolant out of the driver's side water jacket into the oil pan. So now the block's no good.
Well, it had to be me because I'm the one that's been messing with it.
At least you take ownership.
Oh, yeah, no,
Are you sure there wasn't a groundhog
No,
that grazed your leg, sideswiped you, or?
I haven't had one of them episodes
It's
yet.
not a lack of maintenance, it's just shitty.
You would have to be here.
So now what are we gonna do? Build you a 496 or what?
We might have to now. I mean, I don't see any other.
I'm gonna need your attorney's number.
Yeah.
Stroker on the way.
Stroker.
Yeah. Stroker motor.
It's Stroker. Stroker motor.
Stroker.
Stroker.
You're gonna need
Stroker motor.
Jesus. Well, there you go.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
It's just
That's all right, because you can put as much
guess
motor
that's
as you
what
want in that thing
happens.
until you learn how to run through the gears. You're screwed anyway.
All right, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, and I had some plans for today that kind of got hijacked. So we've had some unfortunate situations occur. One being that Vicky's mom fell the other day and broke her wrist. So Vicky has had the day off today. Well, she worked early, but took some time off today to run her mom around to some doctor's appointments. And then my dad fell Friday or Saturday at the grocery store. My dad's diabetic, and his blood sugar got way too high, and he fell in the grocery store. They called the squad for him, and they took him to the hospital because he was disoriented really bad. And so he's at the hospital right now. I went and visited him earlier today, and we're trying to get his blood sugar under control. So those two things have kind of hijacked our plans for the week, at least for today anyway. Back at the shop, Tanner's been working on Billy's 55, trying to get it ready for the weekend because I'm possibly going to drive it this weekend as Cincy Street Nights in 650 index. So got the oil changed, run the valves in it, got the car all cleaned up. He's also working on putting Billy's Nova back together. He's got the engine set down in the car, at least as of a little while ago. And so I have a little bit of time this afternoon to go visit a friend of mine. I saw at the track the other day. You remember Denny Place, a friend of my dad's? He's got that beautiful black and white 68 big block 4-speed Camaro. And I've worked on it a few times, and it's been on the channel a handful of times. And Denny visited with us the other day at the track and mentioned to me that he couldn't get it started the other day when he went out to try and fire it up. So I told Denny the first chance I get, I've got a little bit of time, I'll stop over and we'll try and figure out what's going on with it. A couple of years ago, I put together an E85 carburetor for Denny's Camaro out of spare parts. And it's worked out really well for him, except for it doesn't like to sit for very long. But for the last year or so, Denny's been pretty preoccupied. Dennis the Menace.
Yes! In the flesh, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good, good.
So you saw me down at the track the other day, and you
did.
mentioned that the Camaro
It's-
fails to start.
Fails to start. It's my part. I mean, you know, I owe the responsibility for it.
Lack of maintenance.
I had it, well, that's absolutely true. But to speak for it, I did have a lot going on in the last year.
Yes, you have. Denny's youngest daughter, Julie, has been battling breast cancer. And so for the last 12 months, Denny's main focus has been taking her back and forth to the hospital for treatment. Well, let's go ahead and look at it, see if we can figure something out,
She's a
okay?
mess.
Now, I told Denny when we put it on E85 that letting it sit would be a problem. But with everything Denny's had going on in his life, his old Camaro hasn't been a top priority. But with summer winding down, he'd like to be able to drive the car a little bit. So when you try to start it, what is it doing?
She turns over and she'll fire, but she sounds like she's firing on about 5 cylinders. Like the most that I've gotten out of it is about 2,000 RPM.
Huh.
She runs about 1,500.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden it'll just die.
Okay.
So
Well, why don't you go ahead and try and crank it for me? Let's see what it does.
let me run the house, get my keys.
Okay. So while Denny's going in to get his keys, my suspicions are confirmed. The front accelerator pump is not working. So that's pretty typical on an E85 carburetor that sits. Now the back is working. So the back is barely working. It must be out of fuel. But the front is definitely not working. So the front accelerator pump check valve is probably stuck in the accelerator pump well. So while you were in the house getting your keys, I checked and the front accelerator is not working. The back one's free.
Oh.
However, the rear bowl is empty, so it's out of fuel, but the front, the accelerator pump is not operating because there's a check valve underneath the squirter, and sometimes if they sit that check valve will get stuck in that main well, and then the accelerator pump won't work. So I'm going to take this squirter off and I'm going to spray some penetrating oil down in there.
Okay.
And I've got a pick to try and break that loose.
Oh, great.
I took the squirter off. We're going to spray a little bit of penetrating oil
Okay.
down in that main well. And then I'm going to take this tiny little screwdriver. We're going to try and break that loose. I think I just did. Oh, there it went.
I'll be damned. Darned.
And now it's broke loose. So now the front accelerator pump will work, which will make it much easier for you to start the car. And it'll obviously be a little bit easier for you to keep the car running, because you were pumping it to try and get it started. Unless you put it on the floor, you wouldn't get any fuel into it except for the secondary.
You know what I was doing, Bill? I was grabbing that and dumping it in the carburetor.
Okay, well, that'll work too. This still got an electric pump on it?
Yes.
Right? All right, so now that we've got that, let's try this. Yeah, now you're getting fuel. All right. I'll let you hop in the car and we'll see if we can't get this thing to fire. Just in case this thing decides to backfire, I don't want this stuff to catch fire, because I don't know what this thing's gonna do. Okay, got it neutral? Yeah. All right, see if she'll start. Hang on just a second. Hang on just a second. Pump it again, Denny. It's barely getting any fuel out of this accelerator, so we've still got something going on. Okay, go ahead. Okay, hang on just a second. So I think what's going on here is this thing's probably gummed up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the idle mixture screws out considerably to allow it to get some fuel.
Okay.
And then we'll have to redial it in once we get it to run and stay running. Hopefully this will allow it to run and idle, at least for the time being. All right. All right, Denny, try it. So when it tries to die, just start pumping it to keep it running. See, that little flame right there was what I was worried about earlier with those blankets on it. I think it's just gummed up, Denny.
Yeah, I would imagine so, Bill.
Because it's really giving trouble to try and get anything out. Now yeah, it's definitely gummed up. Now the rear secondaries won't squirt. It's definitely gummed up. Like, yeah, it's gummed up pretty bad. I think we need to take the carburetor off and just go through it before we catch the car on fire. That's exactly what I was concerned about, why I pulled those blankets back.
Yeah.
At least it's easy to work on.
Well, yeah. If you know what you're doing, it's easy.
Yeah, I'd say she's
Gummed
pretty well gummed up,
to the
Denny.
max. Okay.
Well, I'll take it home and I'll take it apart. We'll clean it all up.
Okay.
We'll get it straightened up for you.
I know you will. I know you. Thank you, Bill.
All right, so that brings us to Wednesday. And if you've seen my yard recently, you know that we need some rain. However, it has shown up at the most inopportune time. This morning, I need to load my Malibu up and drop it off down in Kentucky. So let me explain. I mentioned the other day that I want to take this car to Sick Week in Florida. And although I took the car down last year and had a great time in Sick Ward, I wasn't able to actually race the car. So when I came home, I was bound and determined to come back next year and actually race in the event. So I bought the Monte Carlo and set out to build my own drag and drive car. My plan was to take it to Florida this winter and race it. But unfortunately, the Monte is taking a lot longer than I anticipated to put together. So I went through the 6-week rules and found a class that the Malibu would fit in really well if it had a 6-point roll bar, which it currently does not have, and I had no intentions of ever putting one in it. However, if I want to go to 6 week with the Malibu and actually race it in the 10 flat index class, it has to have one. And although I never built the Malibu to be a race car, if it had a 6-point roll bar in it, anyone could race it, and that might be Tanner, Uncle Bob, Tommy, Allison, anybody, including Wyatt, in 16 years. So I made the decision, it's time to put a 6-point in it. And if I'm gonna do it, I want it done at 10 Soldier Race Cars in Hebron, Kentucky.
The day's finally come.
The day has finally come.
Gonna make you safer.
We are?
Ish.
Look at this seat. See how much farther back the driver's side leans than the passenger side?
Oh yeah.
I've bent that thing forward twice. I've broke the steering wheel twice. I want to take it to 6 week and I want to run 10.0 index.
Yeah.
And they won't let me race without a cage, or at least a 6-point.
They're pretty big sticklers on the.
Yeah, I'm not going to be here forever, and there's a little guy coming up, you know, and I don't want him stuck in my old ways. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to worry about him doing what he wants to do with it. Grandpa already put a cage in it, or already put a 6-point in it, and he don't have to worry about that, you know what I mean? But if it was up to me, it would stay this way forever. But I really can't enjoy the car and do anything with it without a 6-point in it, because pretty much anywhere I want to go, if I want to run 650 index, I'm always putting the track owner or the promoter or somebody in a bad spot, because I'm always doing something I shouldn't be doing, and I don't like putting people in a bad spot, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're just gonna do a real nice chromoly 6-point in this thing. It'll hug tight, it'll do all those things. That way it's not a pain for you to get in and out. We can put a swing out.
Yeah, I want to put swing out door bars that are removable.
You know, I've never put swing out door bars in a car.
Oh God. So here we go. I'm finally going to let this happen. But rest assured, this mint, low mileage, original paint 79 Malibu will be in good hands, because the guys down here at 10 Soldier Race Cars are some of the best in the business. Jason Terrell and Brad Schneider started 10 Soldier Race Cars using the name off Jason Terrell's father's Superstock car as the name for their new chassis business. But over the last several years, their business has primarily changed from working on cars to manufacturing and distributing chassis parts. And that new business venture has really taken off. They're not only stocking this stuff in-house at their own manufacturing facility, they're now also keeping Summit Racing equipment stocked with a lot of these parts that they build right here in Hebron, Kentucky. They also happen to be dealers for welding supplies and welders, like the one they're just about to give away on 10soldierracecars.com. So tell me about this welder.
Well, you've been trying to rig this contest since I told you that we were having it.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that. If you go to 10soldierracecars.com, you can enter to win this welder.
Now, that's great and all, right? It's rad to be able to win a welder. Every dollar you spend on merchandise on our website is an entry to win.
Yeah.
It's just on merchandise. But the better thing, I think, is after you win it, we'll help get you here, and we will give you private welding lessons for the day.
Wow.
So even if you're like my friend Bill and you've never used a TIG welder, by the end of the day, we should be able to get you to where you kind of know what's happening and get you to where you can stick metal together. So, that's the thing I'm most excited about.
Dude, that's pretty cool. You get to tour the shop, check out all the race cars.
Yeah.
How soon are you giving this thing away?
So, right now, and I don't have my exact dates in front of me, but it's basically running to the mid part of October. All the details are on our website. And I believe that we're going to draw the winner like November 1st.
Okay.
And like I said, all those details are on our website. We'll draw it YouTube Live, something along those lines.
You're kind of winging this.
Yeah. If my wife was here, she would give you the exact.
You're Jimmy Dalen is what you're doing.
Nah, we're way more put together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Enter our Everlast Welder giveaway for your chance to win the ultimate welding package.
We're not just giving away a machine.
The winner will also receive a welding helmet, gloves, and cups from Furic. Plus, you'll spend a full day at 10 Soldier HQ, learning all the tips and tricks from Jason and the rest of the boys. To enter, grab some merch from our website, including the limited edition Dimes Over Dishonor t-shirt, and you're in. Every dollar spent is one entry into the drawing. One lucky winner, one epic prize. Will it be you? Weld like a soldier boy. Enter today. TinSoldierRaceCars.com.
All right, man. So here's the deal. I never wanted to do this.
I know.
I still don't want to do it. But unfortunately, if I want to go to sick week and run this thing, I got to have at least a 6-point in it.
Yeah, that is one thing about the drag and drive stuff is they're super strict on safety.
Yeah.
They don't mess around with that stuff. We actually ran, 2 years ago, we ran Super Street small block power adder, and we only had a 25.5 in the car. It was 750 cert.
Yeah.
It was 740 on the first day, and they wouldn't let us turn in the time slip.
Yeah.
So we ended up turning it down and running a 750 index all week.
Yeah.
So,
and then the other thing is, this thing's not really that much fun to try and get after.
Yeah.
Because I've broke the steering wheel twice trying to hang on to it.
You broke it at Cincy Street Nights, didn't you?
Yeah, I broke the steering wheel twice, and the seat's laid back on the driver's side like an inch and a half further back than the passenger side, and I've bent it up twice, trying to get the seat to stay where it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well,
it's not fun.
See if we can fix that for you. I don't know if I can fix the seat, but we can give you something to rest it up against, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, obviously I'd like for it to be tucked in, right here so you can't really see it as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd like to have the bar that goes behind the headrest. I'd like to have that removable if possible.
Yeah, that's no problem.
And
we can
then
make that removable.
I don't know what you want to do about the door bars.
Straight. Do you like where the seat's at there, or
Yeah.
do you want it?
No, I'd like to have the seat to match the other side because it's actually uncomfortable.
So about there.
Yeah, there's something down there that my brother's bent up twice for me trying to get the thing to stay, but
Okay.
you have to look at it.
Yeah. All right, we'll make that happen.
And then
I'll tuck it real tight right here where you almost won't see it.
Yeah.
Where the seatbelt? I might be able to sneak it right behind the seatbelt there.
Okay.
And then
through the package tray.
Yeah.
Because we still want to be able to put people in the back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole reason I wanted that bar in the back to be removable in case we want to put somebody in the back seat, because I still drive this thing.
Right.
We go to dinner in it. And,
yeah.
And then the door bars, I know they're supposed to be in a certain place, but either swing out and removable.
Well, we could do both. We could make it removable, but then also I think if we dive it down here real hard and kind of do something like that, where you can kind of slide over it. Because to be honest, I hate swing outs because even when they're open, they're still like kind of in your way.
Right.
And then you're still
banging and clanging on.
Yeah, you're still banging it against the door panel, and it's like you got to open the door, then open the door bar.
Right.
I don't know. They're just kind of annoying. So I think we can make it removable, but I'll try to tuck it pretty low to where you can kind of just slide over top of it.
Okay.
And then, the down bars, we'll bring them vertical with the roof and then follow the back window down to where you almost don't even, really, with the door closed, you really won't even see it.
Perfect.
It'll be almost hidden.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Out here in the shop tonight, finishing up this video. Look at this thing, huh? Billy's 69 C10 he's getting ready to do the giveaway on. Oh my goodness, look at that. Brand new chrome bumper, brand new chrome grill. Oh my goodness, this thing's looking good. We've got the Nova just about ready to fire up, and I think we might be going testing this weekend at Trails on Sunday. I don't know, don't hold me to that. And I don't even, it might be a private test session. I have no idea. I haven't even hardly talked to Billy about it. But he's planning on taking the Nova to Trails on Sunday to try and test it a little bit. In other news, I was up at Bob's today, and he's working on the 496. He's putting the short block together today. When I was up there, he was assembling pistons on the connecting rods, and he's got the crank in it, and he's already got the first 4 pistons and rods in the block. He's going to continue working on that tomorrow. We're hoping to have that 496 put together by the end of next week, and hopefully on the dyno within a week or so. And we're going to start that giveaway October 1st. So if you want to enter to win that 496 big block pump gas motor, go to my website, theoldmansgarage.shop, and we've got a whole bunch of new merchandise coming out for this fall and, of course, into Christmas season. Vicky is really excited. She's got a whole bunch of really neat stuff coming out, and we've got a specific shirt design that's just, it's focused on that engine, but we've got some flannels. We've got a whole bunch of stuff coming out that we're really excited about. Can't wait to show that to you. Vicky should have all that stuff uploaded to the website by Tuesday of next week, and that's October 1st. So October 1st, that's when the giveaway starts. Probably don't want to buy any merch until October 1st if you want to get entered on that. In other news, the 502 Big Block Ford is on the dyno. We plan on firing that thing up on Monday. We're going to test that engine as it came out of the car with the carburetor that he gave with the engine, and then we're going to swap it to the ATM carburetor that he won. And then once we get that dynoed, we're going to pull it back off, and hopefully by that time we've got the camshaft and lifters and valve springs and everything we need from Iski to swap it over to a hydraulic roller instead of the flat tappet camshaft that's in it currently. Also, I've got some other kind of exciting news. As you guys have probably noticed over the last year or two, I've been considering hosting an event, and I really wasn't prepared to get into this right now, but a local track owner, the owner at Edgewater Motorsports Park down in Cincinnati, has been reaching out to me for about a year, asking if I would help come up with some rules or do a no prep event. And my heart really hasn't been in it. You know, my mom passed away about a year ago. My brother just recently passed away. I became a grandfather. Like, there's been a lot going on in our lives, and you know, my dad's not been in the best health, and Vicky's mom recently fell. So like, there's always a lot going on behind the scenes that nobody really ever sees. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. Actually, I've already committed to it. October 24th through the 27th at Edgewater Motorsports Park. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday deal. I can't wait to drop all the details on this. It's going to be a really neat weekend. It's going to be unlike anything anybody has seen in Central Ohio for the last 5 or 6 years, maybe ever. I'm really excited about it. I'm still working out all the details with Rob Winley, the owner of the track, but it's going to be really cool. So October 24th through the 27th, that's a Friday, Saturday with a Sunday as a rain date if we need it. But October 24th through the 27th, Edgewater Motorsports Park in Cincinnati. I'm going to be there. Vicky's going to be there. I think the kids are going to be there. And we're going to host a no prep race unlike anything anybody has seen, maybe ever, or at least in a very long time. And those details are coming out. In fact, I'm actually going to produce a video over the weekend, this coming weekend, since the tracks are closed. We've got this hurricane coming in and dumping rain on everybody. But I'm going to work on a video this weekend explaining why I'm doing this, how I'm doing this, the ins and outs of the no prep scene over the last few years, which I think everybody probably already knows that I'm not real happy about the way things have been going. And it is what it is. And I'm not going to put anybody on blast. I'm not trying to downgrade anybody's events or speak ill of anybody, nothing like that. I want the opportunity to see if the way we used to do things will still work. We'll still pack a track full of people, full of cars, and see if we can put something together that a lot of people will come together and enjoy and do it safely. So I'm going to work on that video over the weekend. I think you guys are going to be pretty intrigued with some of the things I have to say, because there's a lot to say. There's a lot that's been going on. There's a lot that needs, in my opinion, some changes made. I mean, I'm just going to say it. No, I'm not going to say it right now. Look, I'm going to make a video over the weekend because it's a very broad subject. Like, you'll see. I can't even put it into words right now. You'll see. I'm going to work on this video, finish this up, and then I'm going to start filming the next video tomorrow and probably over the weekend. So be looking for that. Probably, I would say, by Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, I'm hoping to have it done. So good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, leaving comments, all that. It's wonderful. I love everybody. I can't thank you all enough for the support. Check this out.